if you're looking to find patterns in your data that might not be readily obvious when you just analyze it looking on normal charts, clustering is a really common algorithm that people will use to try and apply some machine learning to their data and uncover these patterns. And we support that in Power BI as well. There's two ways that you can do this. One is using a scatter chart where you're looking at two different variables and then just using those variables find clusters. And the other is using a table where you would put potentially many variables in. And we'll actually look through all of those different variables to try and understand any clusters that might be hiding in your data. So let's take a look at how that works. So I'm looking here at a scatter chart with one dot for each of our products. And I've plotted on the y-axis the likelihood that this customer said they would purchase the product again. It's an average score. And then on the x-axis, an average satisfaction score. So you can see that most of our customers are somewhere in the middle, but there's a few outliers to the left and right here. Now, if I want to apply this through our machine learning algorithms and find some of these clusters automatically, I'll find it on that dot menu in the top right-hand corner. So I can choose here, give a name for these clusters, and I can choose how many clusters I want to find. We use a k-means algorithm under the hood here, so it will actually figure out what's the optimal number of clusters. But I can also override this and say, I want a specific number if I think there's a good value to apply here. So when I hit OK, this will now send it through that algorithm, and you can see it's identified that hey, there's a set of points here who have got certain values. There's a set down in this corner, which again sort of correspond to these outliers. And then this mass in the middle, it sort of vaguely split them up into these 4 different areas based on the underlying data for all of this. And you can see the new column that it's created, this product ID column, product ID clusters rather, has been added here. So I can actually just use this anywhere else in my report. And it got added to the legend of this scatter chart. So for example, I could create a little bar chart showing me, okay, so for all of these clusters, what was the total sales amount? So we sold most out of cluster 3. And again, all the same sort of cross-highlighting and filtering would apply that you'd get from any other charts here. So that's using a scatter chart, but I can also do this on a table. Let's just make that one a little bit smaller. Scatter chart would limit us to just using those 2 variables on my x and my y axis. But if I wanted to look at our products and let's compare a few different attributes here. So let's take our satisfaction again. Let's take the likelihood whether they were going to purchase this product again. But let's also look at our total sales amount and the number of units that were sold. So we've got multiple variables going into this here. So again, let's try and find some different clusters within this. So the menu's in the same place, but this time we're using all 4 of those different variables to try and find clusters. I'll leave this one on automatic. And here now I can see I've got this new column was created here called product name clusters. So this one I did on product name. And again, I can make changes here. So I can choose to edit this cluster as well. And I can see now here the 3 clusters that were created. First one's got about 900 items in it, 1,500 and then 27 in the last one. And again, I can give this a new name as well. So clusters over more variables. And I can choose, again, the number of clusters that it found. And I can set that back to automatic or specify something as well if I want. And again, I can use this in exactly the same way as I did any other, as I would do any other variable. So let's look at this one based on the based on those more variables. Let's make that another little bar chart. Again, look at sales amount here. So I can see most of our sales for this one came from the first cluster. And again, I can focus on these ones and see, okay, well, most of those were higher satisfaction, but had quite a broad range of purchase likelihoods. Cluster 3, that's it's included most of the outliers that we saw over on the left-hand side of that satisfaction scale. But there's a few from the other areas as well. So clustering lets you choose a whole range of variables and look at the hidden patterns in that data that might not be instantly obvious if you just visualize it yourself.